This course is intentionally called Get Over It, Overcoming the Fear of Social Media. Now, social media is something that it's here, and we're gonna spend a lot of time diving into this. And my hope is that this course encourages you to take the leap and to get started with it. You know, if you're already doing stuff on social media, awesome. This class is going to be about the basics. We are not going to get into like advanced Facebook targeting metrics or anything like that. There's a lot of value in that, but the reality is that, especially in this industry, social media is something that a lot of companies are not jumping into, and frankly, a lot of companies that are in it aren't doing it very well because they're kind of dipping their toe in the water while they're still standing back. They haven't actually taken the leap to go all in. And so we're going to talk about what that is, and I'm just going to share like really authentically of just how I use social media. I mean, you're going to look at like my Instagram handle and like, I don't have that many followers, and that's okay. What I found to be very true with social media is it's less about how many followers you have, and it's about are the right people following you? Are your customers following you? Are the people that care about you following you? And are you able to reach potential folks based on, you know, their likes, their interests, and that sort of thing? So again, like the last course, you are more than welcome to ask questions, to push back. We can talk about this. This is going to be very interactive. I got to give credit to my good friend Grant Falco because he actually put this course together. If you guys know me at all, you'll know that Grant Falco is somebody out of the Pacific Northwest that's doing just some amazing things on social media. And he actually taught this course at Expo last year. And so I kind of came to him and I said, dude, this is an awesome framework you have. Can I rip it off and change the slides around and kind of, you know, take it in my own direction? And he gave me permission, which is amazing. So this will be a really good course. What we're going to talk about, though, you know, number one is if we want our company to win the social media game, we got to address the fear. And there's a lot of fear when it comes to social media. There's a lot of paranoia. I mean, I was in a dealer's store like a week ago, and he made a comment about, I don't want pictures of me on Facebook. I don't want my business on Facebook. I don't want anybody knowing where we're at. You know, they got it. I'm not going to be on the internet. And I'm like, okay, that's your choice, but that's also like, you know, hiding the cash register and making the customers go on a treasure hunt to find it and put money in it. You know, it's like putting boards up over your building and wondering why no one's coming in. That's just the reality that we're at. But there's a lot of paranoia and fear, and you know, we're gonna address that. There's a lot of fear to change. There's fear of the unknown. There's fear of what if I say something stupid and it goes, you know, viral everywhere. Oh, perfect.
That's all of them.
Awesome, thank you. Those are going to be the CEU applications that you can fill out, which means that you actually have to stay here for the entire course to get to them. There's the bribery. So we're going to talk about the fear, and we're going to get real about what that is and just address it. But after the fear, we're going to talk about messaging 101. And this is something that we kind of hinted at in the last course, but most companies in our industry are doing social media wrong because they're making it all about them. They're not making it about the consumer, about the problems that the consumer has and how they can help solve them. And so we're going to talk about what is good messaging. How can we, you know, create posts, and what kinds of things should we be talking about that actually make people excited about us and not, you know, just scrolling on to the next thing. The last bit is we'll jump into some specific tactics to win. And this is where we'll get real practical, and I'll just tell you guys like what I do. This is how I do social media. These are the kind of posts that I have. And you're welcome to, you know, take what is good, and if there's other things that you want to do, that's fine too. But in the tactics, a lot of it is actually just doing it, just the regularity of planning your posts, having somebody dedicated to it. When it comes to social media, I mean, honestly, like consistency is the most important thing. It's more important than anything to have a consistent presence out there rather than think that you can, you know, post once a week or, you know, every 2 weeks and think that that's adequate. So we'll jump into all that, and as always, you know, ask me questions, raise your hands. Like literally, I'm just going to say this, like when I'm in a room with a lot of people, there's a lot of things I don't know. And very often people are using these terms and, you know, acronyms and things, and I don't know what it is. And sometimes I feel dumb raising my hand and asking the question, but I always do. I'm always the guy in the room that says, oh wait, I don't understand that. Can you please go back? And honestly, please do that here. I mean, you will look like the smartest person in the room if you ask for clarification. So with all that said, we're going to jump into the fears of social media and how your businesses can take control and win. So, you know, the big thing right now is that there is a problem in our industry that's a paralyzing fear of social media. There's a mentality because of how fast things have changed, where companies are unsure of it. It used to be 25 years ago that we didn't know if this fad of the internet would continue, right? I mean, like, well, why should I have a website? I mean, I don't know. The internet might be gone, tomorrow. That's how it was with TV, back in the 1940s or 50s or whenever it was. Like, social media, like, it's here to stay. It really is. And there is a fear of change. There's a fear of the unknown. And we have to jump in and we have to address that. And the internet is only becoming more and more and more socially oriented. And there's reasons why that, like, frankly, we could argue about the morality of, like, what these companies are after. But, like, the truth of the matter is that people will continue to grow more and more social on the internet. Marketing is, I'm convinced personally that traditional marketing is about to be totally disrupted. It hasn't totally happened yet, but, I give you an example. We run Facebook ads, Google ads, and we do some, like, a little bit of print and some targeted things. And as a company, so we have stores in Oregon and Washington. And when I started at my company about 6.5 years ago, the first thing that we did is we cut out basically all of our marketing spends. We were spending too much money, and we felt like there's such low-hanging fruit of just, like, internal growth we can have. Like, we don't need marketing right now. Now, that has since changed, where over time that starts to reach a ceiling, and you have to invest in marketing to start drawing more people to your business. But as we did that, we weigh pretty heavily on the digital side because it's so trackable that I can run that on Google, and I can target people in this income bracket. I can target these keywords. If you go to Facebook, I can say I want to reach people that have a household income of $150,000, that like golf, that like HGTV, whatever it is, and I can see real-time results of if that works or not. Now you caveat that. Pretty recently, we ran a bunch of radio up in our Washington stores, and I did it through gritted teeth because the owner of our company had been doing it for years and he liked it. But we had a guy in to sell us radio a number of months ago, and I was in the meeting with the owner of our company, and he's telling us all about how good radio is, and how for the last 20 years we've been getting all this top of mind awareness and all this stuff. And I kind of raised my hand. I wasn't rude, but I said, well, I want to show you our showroom traffic metrics, because we track all of our door swings. We find out every single customer that comes in the store, how they hear about us, what kind of customer are they, what product do they look at, did they get quoted, and it's nothing advanced. It's just a little check sheet that we just have every team member do. So there's a little bit of a fudge factor to it, but generally speaking, we know how every person comes in the door. We know what marketing is working. And I was talking to this guy, and I said, I'm just being super honest that since the beginning of the year, we've not had a single person come into the store that mentioned any of our radio ads. And he goes, well, that's because, radio it's all about top of mind awareness. It's, the way that radio works is it's not about this. What happens is people hear you on the radio and it kind of subliminally goes in. And then what happens is they see your truck drive by, but they never would have thought about your truck if they didn't know you on the radio. So then they come in and they tell you, well, I saw it on a truck. Or, they hear you on the radio and then they go to your website and then they tell you they found you online. And I'm like, well, okay, I can buy that, but like, don't you think one person would have said that they heard about us on, like one person would have? And I said, well, what if we did this then? What if we started putting a call to action in our radio ads, where the call to action would be, mention this ad and get 10% off. Or maybe the call to action in the radio is, instead of going to firesidehomesolutions.com, maybe the call to action is go to firesidehomesolutions.com/special to get the best deal possible. So we can track, like, are people actually going to this? And he goes, well, as soon as you say call to action, that's like fingernails on the chalkboard. That's not how radio works. It's all about top of mind awareness. So basically I was like, well, okay, so you want us to spend a ton of money with you. You don't want us to put a call to action so that we literally have no idea if it's working or not, and we just got to trust. Like, I'm not saying radio doesn't work, but when I can spend like literally a fifth of the money and know for sure how it's working, if it's working, the point being is that there is a disruption coming to traditional advertising. I'm not saying it's all bad. There's ways you can still leverage it to be effective, but social media is not going away, and it's only going to grow and grow and grow. The idea of getting acclimated with it now while it's still relatively early is really important, because you might miss the boat. So with all that said, we are going to look at this. So, today, this is a great quote that Grant put up here. So today, not having an active social media presence is literally like pulling out a flip phone in the meeting and wondering why Brad with an iPhone gets all the appointments. I mean, it really is, like, and this is not a knock against anyone who has a flip phone, but like, if you're in a meeting with someone and you open up your Motorola Razr flip phone and you're trying to type in notes and stuff versus someone that has like it's where technology is. We can love it or hate it, but unfortunately it is where it is. And when it comes to social media, the truth is that we don't know what we don't know. So this is uncharted territory. This is something like it didn't exist. I mean, so I'm not that old, but I might be older than a few of the folks in this room, but like literally the first year that I was supposed to go to college was the first year that Facebook started. And I remember one of my buddies went to Oregon State University, and he's like, dude, we got this new thing called Facebook. You got to have a college email address to get in, and you get this. And it was like the weirdest thing in the world that like we'd sit on his dorm room and like send people messages on Facebook. But like, it's changed, it's new territory. And with that, there's a fear of the unknown, there's a fear to change, there's questions about, am I doing it right? How do I even know? And it goes back to that idea that we talked about earlier that like we're trying to, number one, survive and thrive, but we're also trying to like conserve calories. And if it seems overwhelming where social media, it's too much to learn, I can't do it, we shut down and we ignore it. And to date, businesses have not totally had to pay the price for that yet, but the day's coming where they're going to have to. So we don't know what we don't know, and we gotta have humility as we walk into this to say, I don't have it all figured out, but we're on the journey trying to do that. So that's what the heart behind today is. Now, as we jump into this, there's a lot of value on social media, and very often, the question is ROI. How is being on Facebook going to help me sell more fireplaces? How's being on Instagram going to help me sell more fireplaces? And there are answers to those questions, but very often we got to think just very big about, at first you're probably not going to have success as you jump into it. Like it takes time. You got to build a presence. You got to build a following, and it takes an investment. Like you with social media, it is not enough to just hire a 20-year-old because they know social media and just let it. It doesn't work that way. Like you got to intentionally go after it. But here's the value. Number one is that social media is free to start, and obviously you can pay for advertising, and I think it's a really good investment in a lot of ways. But it really is free to start. And so this is an opportunity to market your company to people who don't know who you are, or who don't totally know the value that you can bring, or all the different services that you offer, and it literally costs you nothing. There's a time investment, but to start doing social media is free. As we're going to jump into this, I'll just kind of talk with you guys about my journey. So, the reason that I have this speaking gig today is through a connection on Instagram that I made with Katie from South Central HPBA. And I don't have that many followers, but she was one of them. She saw the content I was posting, and she hit me up, and she's like, hey, we need someone to talk about social media. So I'm going to say this again and again and again, that it is not about how many people follow you. It's about are the right people following you, and are you engaging to your audience to where they want to continually hear from you and get value from you. So it's free to start. And the reason I say that is that I've never spent a penny on Instagram advertising or anything like that for myself. It's just very organic, and it's very relational. So it's free at the beginning. The next thing is just brand exposure, that your brand has instant reach. And it goes back to what we talked about. If people are watching TV and the commercial comes on, what's the one thing that is in between a person's face and the TV? The second that happens, everybody's on some kind of social media now. I swear my dad is the most crazy Facebook user, posting pictures and selfies of everything, and he loves taking pictures with the grandkids, and it's the way that life is now. My grandpa is 97 years old, and he moved into a home about 2.5 years ago, but he actually still has Facebook. He's 97, and this is happening. So with this, because social media is everywhere, your brand has the ability to be exposed to just about anybody in the space where their attention is occupied. And that's the big thing, is that you can have the best message in the world, but if you're not speaking it through a channel where someone has their attention focused, it doesn't matter. So you need to have the right channel. Part two is that you got to have the right messaging. We'll talk about messaging next, but social media is going to give your brand a reach that it's never had before, and just an immediate access to the customers that you want. Number three is targeted marketing. Facebook ads, they are some of the most targeted marketing you can do. It is crazy how targeted you can make this. You can identify your customer, pick the household income, If you want to market to women between 55 and 70 who, huge net income, who are interested in remodel projects that were recently divorced. I mean, like, you can be so targeted with this in a way that nothing has ever been before. And big brands are starting to figure this out. And unfortunately, because of that, it's getting more and more expensive to do. So I'm not saying to do Facebook marketing is cheap right now. I think it's a lot cheaper than like TV and print and traditional things like that. But it's on the rise because it's working. And what's happening is, over the next number of years, as like Coke and Pepsi and these big places like that are investing more into it, they're going to raise the bar for everybody. So it's important for us now, to get on board and learn how to do this while the cost is still low. There's a lot of opportunity there. And then lastly, is just that the future of the internet social, it's not going away. I mean, if I feel like even like when I go to the dentist, they're texting me afterwards for me to leave them a review on like 5 different websites, that like there is a social aspect to everything now. We want social validation for everything. And that is human nature. We're tribal creatures. We're people that like to be part of a group. And we've always wanted validation from other people socially. This like makes that exponentially increase. I mean, it's to the point now where like, I'll call my wife and be like, okay, wait, do I spend $5 on this toilet paper or $4.50 on this toilet paper? This one has reviews from this many people. This has, I mean, like, I'm joking around, but that is how our lives are becoming, is that like we want social validation for everything. And whether we like it or not, this is part of the game if we want to make people aware of our products and give them confidence in the solutions that we can deliver. So there's a lot of value here. Now, there's 5 fears in particular that hold us back from doing social media. Now, is there anybody in here right now that is not on social media yet with their business? Awesome. Okay. Is there anyone in here who's not totally sure if you're doing it right? Towards a struggle? A few. We have a few honest people. Yeah. Few honest people. So there's real fears that hold us back from social media. Can anybody guess what's a fear of like doing social media? How do you do it? Totally.
Bad reviews.
Bad reviews, yes. Yeah. Yep. Fear of bad reviews, absolutely. Anything else?
Saying the wrong thing. Saying the wrong thing.
Totally. Yep, totally. So here's 5 of them that I think are very legit. Number 1 is the fear that you don't have enough time. Social media, it does take some time, but I think that there is a big fear that, I don't have time to mess with that Facebook stuff. That's just, that's for those kids to deal with. And, okay, I mean, fine. But if that's where all your customers are and this is the spot to reach them, it's probably worth investing some time. Probably in the same way that the first time you ran a TV ad or a radio ad, there's probably some fear there. Like, am I wasting my money? How am I doing this? Am I doing it right? And there's a learning curve to figuring this stuff out. And social media is no different. Number 2 is the fear that you'll look stupid. And I think that this is a big one, is that there is a fear of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a little bit older. I didn't grow up with this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do it right. And we fear that. And like, the reality is we just have to get over it. That, if you put yourself out there, there's going to be some people that like it, some people that don't. But at the end of the day, if you use the right messaging tactics, like, you're not going to look dumb. You're going to look just fine to your customers. And I talked in the last course about, no one cares about you've been in business for 30 years. No one cares your grandpa started the company, all that stuff. And I do believe that. But there is a ton of value in the fact that we're family-owned businesses. There is a ton of value in that we've been around for 30 years. It's all about the way that we message that to people. And the beauty is that you've got an amazing story that can solve problems and be medicine to a lot of your customers. And you shouldn't let the fear of saying something stupid or looking dumb affect that, because there's a ton of value that you can bring. Next up is number 3, which is the fear to change. And this is a big deal, is that we are creatures of habit. We are afraid to change. In this same conversation that I had with this dealer in my hometown, a couple weeks ago, when he was saying, I don't want to be on Facebook. I don't want anything on there. He just said, all I want to do is I put my ads in the Clipper magazine. I just want to write my check every month and just send it to him. I don't want to do anything else. And I think that there is a fear aspect, because to change means that we have to do something different. We have to kind of question if what we've been doing is right. And there's a lot of fear in that. But that's true of anything in life. And I think that, at the end of the day, like, you're either living or you're dying. And like, the mark of a living creature is that they're changing, at the end of the day. Next is fear that you'll fail, or fear that, I'll say something, it'll blow up on me. We live in a world of, viral videos and things like that. I don't want to be the person that said the wrong thing and did something stupid, or hired a kid to do this and, it blew up on me. And we'll jump into that, but the reality is, again, it goes back to if you've got the right messaging, if you're telling the right story, if you're presenting your company's value, it's way harder for people to connect with you than we think it is. And we think that if we say one bad thing, everyone's going to hear about it. And the truth of the matter is that, unless you really royally blow it in a way that I know no one in this room is going to, you don't have to worry about that. You're going to do just fine. And it's one of those things too. It's a journey. Social media it's a journey that you decide, hey, it's important. This is where customers are, and there are going to be little failures. But I'm not going to let that fear stop me from connecting with customers for less money and in a greater impact way than ever before. And then lastly is going to be the fear that you're too late. Everybody's so far ahead of me. There's too much technical, jargon now. It's so expensive. I'm too late. I can't do it. And this is a very legit fear because, frankly, I think there will be a day where you're too late. And I think that day is coming soon because the equity that you build for your brand now on social media is going to pay off for years and years and years. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like the famous saying when they ask, when's the best day to plant a tree? It's 20 years ago. When's the second best day to plant a tree? Today. Social media is kind of the same way, is that if it is an arms race, get started now while other people are still figuring out while it's in its infancy. So these are fears that, a lot of people have, a lot of businesses have, but you guys can take control, you can overcome them, and you can do some awesome things with your business. So jumping into it now, we are going to talk about how there's a shift in consumer buying right now from high touch to low touch content. And I might be dating myself here. I know that I skew, I am a millennial, and I'm sorry about that. But this is led by millennials, but I'm convinced it's true of everybody. So is anybody here less busy than they were 10 years ago? You got more free time, smartphones made your life easier, you don't have to work as much, stuff is more, no. What world do we live in? No, life is busier, it's crazier. So for me, two young kids, I got a lot of hobbies, I got a day job, and then I moonlight, teaching and consulting and speaking like this, so I'm really, really busy. I know you guys are too. So 10 years ago, if a sales rep called you up and said, hey, let's go get a game of golf in, and we'll go play 18 holes, we'll drink a couple beers, and we'll get some dinner and just kind of talk about business. That was a lot more appealing than it is now. For me now, I don't want to play golf. I don't have 4 hours if I have 4 hours in the day, I'm spending with my family. I don't want to be on a golf course with you. No offense, you're fine, but I don't have time for that. And all of us are the same way. Where we used to high-touch activities. High-touch activities meant something to us. We are shifting to wanting low-touch content. So this is a quote from my friend Bradley Hartmann. He wrote a book called The Skeptical Lumberman Guide to Social Media. Amazing, amazing book. If you want to get it, you can go to the website behindyourbacksales.com. But Bradley Hartmann says high-touch activities that require more face-to-face interaction, they're less desirable. It used to be customers would want to come in 5-6 times to talk to you, to make sure that it was right. And honestly now, the data says that people go to a hearth store 1.4 times before making a purchase. They are in and out. They're doing their research online without you. When they're coming in, they want to move. They don't have time anymore to bounce around and wait for the estimate and all these different things. So low touch content can be accessed when buyers are initiating the buying process online alone and on their timeline, which is more desirable. People want it on their terms. It used to be that high-touch activities were very valuable, and we're moving to where people want low-touch content. Now, they still want a personal touch, but they want to initiate that buying process by themselves, alone, without you, and they want you to be brought in at the last minute. The biggest shift that we've seen is that now the consumer experience starts alone. The data says that people do on average about 24 hours worth of research before buying one of our products, about 24 hours. And they go to 1.4 hearth stores. And that's, down significantly from, 15 years ago. They go to 3 stores, 4 stores and check it out. People just don't have time. And they want to begin that buying process alone. You can be the most trusted resource and expert with the best solutions, but customers will never know it if they don't see you. And that's the big thing with social media is that we got to put our message out there where folks are. Because what they're after is they're after low-touch content. They want to consume it on their own terms, and then when they're ready, they want to come and see you, and you're still super important, but we got to start that journey without us in the virtual space. So that means that we have to think about what the invisible sale is. And the invisible sale is by Tom Martin. The invisible sale is where digitally empowered buyers are self-educating and making key purchasing decisions before your company even knows they're in the market. So the invisible sale is happening before a customer ever sees us. I mean, I think it's fair to say, everyone's checking out our website before coming to our store, right? Yeah.
You're right about sometimes they're checking stuff out on websites. What's going on with, and I'll give you a good example.
Yeah.
If you go and look up Fire Magic, Google, you're going to have to go way down there to find Fire Magic's website. Because they got Fire Magic Store, the Fire Magic website, they got Fire Magic Online, they got all these companies, and you're not getting to the actual manufacturer's website until way down the line.
Yep.
So, explain. Expound.
Everyone's buying ads. They're buying. So the way that Google works is that paid Google ads are the first thing that's there. And then after that is local businesses on Google Maps. And then after that is organic search engine optimization. So it's an arms race, and it's the people who are shelling out the dollars to be in the paid ads that are up at the top. And
so the manufacturer's not paying anything, so that's why they're down.
Yeah.
So if somebody's looking for that particular product, they're going to find somebody online to sell it to them before they ever get to you.
They could. Yeah, they very well could. And that's where we got to think as retailers, what are we doing about it? Now, social media is different, though, because social media is different than Google. So the beauty about social media is that you're able to tell a story, and you're able to connect with customers in a different way. So Google paid advertising is absolutely an arms race, and that's probably a different course to talk about that. But in this course, the beauty about social media is that the national companies that are selling online and shelling out $30,000 a month in advertising to be at the top of Google, they are not as targeted locally as you can be on social media to reach the people in your zip codes, in your market, and there's opportunity there.
But if people go on the website, if they're looking for that particular product or brand name, and they go on there and they Google it, whatever, which is probably what they'll do to start with, and that manufacturer's up at the top, they get on their website, and then they've got a dealer locator that they can put in their zip code and find the dealers that are right in their area.
Yeah, and that's what I think. So I think that the answer to that is when you're posting on social media, you got to link to your username, you got to link to your website, so that as people are getting engaged with your content, you got to keep them in your sales funnel and direct them to your website, to your product information. And that goes back to like what we better have a website that engages people. We better have a website that actually moves customers into a sales funnel that you can repeat over and over. Because I'm the same way, that if they go out into the ether of all the companies out there, I have no way of knowing they're going to come back to me. I got to keep them contained within our funnel, showing our value.
So you're really dealing with two different monsters here. You're dealing with the internet and social media is two different things. Mm-hmm. You're lumping that into this kind of. That's not. This is social media is not the internet. This is a different monster. This is a newer monster in your mind than the internet.
Yeah.
So that's how you have to look at this. This is not going on Google and searching it. This is you putting out your content and people liking it in front of you as you paid search.
Totally.
On the social media side.
And I think both are really important, but they're complementary. They're complementary. And I think that social media is a way to undercut a lot of these big companies that are just doing big blanket spends on Google. It's going to take time and investment, but it is a way to do that. But we got to realize that the invisible sale, it goes on before we ever see the customer. And we are losing so many customers. I've talked to, in the last 2 months, I've talked to 3 of the presidents of the biggest companies in our industry, the manufacturers, and I've said, guys, you are losing on the invisible sale. You are losing. And it's not even that they're buying from your competitors. Your invisible sale is losing customers to kitchen remodels and to bathroom remodels and trips to Hawaii because you are not engaging customers in the invisible sale. It's just the reality. But as we move on here, we got to just conquer that fear that's holding us back. There are factors of the internet. There is all this stuff going on. It's totally legit, but we can overcome it. And in order to do that, number one is we got to do messaging the right way. So we're going to talk about messaging, and a lot of this is going to be familiar to what we talked about earlier this morning. But the biggest thing when it comes to messaging is that it's not about you. One of my favorite quotes is from Donald Miller. And he talks about how your mantra in messaging is always play the guide, never, ever, ever play the hero. Do not ever play the hero, because your business is not the hero of the customer's story. The customer is the hero of their story. When a customer wakes up in the morning, they don't wake up thinking, man, I can't wait to go buy my fireplace today. I can't wait to go drive down there and just hand them $5,000. Man, gosh, that is going to make my week. No one wakes up thinking that. We wake up in the morning and even if I need a new lawnmower or a car or whatever it is, I might want the status of the car. I might want the satisfaction of my lawn looking better than my neighbor's lawn. But I wake up in the morning with me as the hero of my story, thinking, okay, man, I got hopes and dreams and aspirations. I'm trying to figure out life. I got this family. And yeah, if a car can help me do that, I'm in. I want the car. And if a lawnmower, but I'm not thinking about their business. I'm thinking about me. And so messaging has got to be done in a way that addresses us and our problems. What StoryBrand so brilliantly talks about is they talk about how, since everyone is the hero of their own story, there's not room for two heroes. They give a great example about if your lawnmower breaks and you got to go to the hardware store to buy a new one. This literally happened to me 6 months ago or less, and I didn't set out to have to buy a lawnmower that day. But imagine you go into the hardware store and they start telling you all about themselves, and they started the business, and they sell all these brands of lawnmowers. They got the best quality. In your head, you're thinking hey, that's great. I'm glad, but I got a broken lawn. I just want to mow my lawn. Can you just help me solve my problem so I can go do that? It's not that they wish you ill will, but it's that when there's two heroes in the story, what goes through the customer's head is, well, I'm a hero. I'm glad you're a hero. Get out of my way. I got to find someone to help me. So what customers need is a guide. They need someone who's been there before, who can say, yeah, hey, I understand you have these dreams, these aspirations. I've been there too, and I can help you do it. Here's the steps to take. All of a sudden, we get really excited about that because it helps us serve our own ends of getting the results that we want. So number one in our messaging is to always play the guide, not the hero. I'm not going to mention the names of any companies, but if you think about it, there's a couple of major manufacturers in our industry that if you think about the tagline is not about the customer and what they get. The tagline is about the manufacturer. We do the best things. We do this. We do that, the other. What we have to think about in messaging in order to be the guide is, we have to say things instead of we've been doing this for 40 years, or we've built the best fireplaces in America. We got to start saying, your home deserves a beautiful fireplace. Is your family cold? We can help you get warm. We got to start speaking to the customer as the guide, saying, hey, we've been there before. One of the best ways to do this is by outlining the steps in the plan. So in our company and in a lot of our messaging, we try to outline the steps in everything. So, if we're doing an ad for, maybe we're running a Facebook ad for a special that we have coming up. We'll do a lot of things where it will literally say, step 1, click right here. Step 2, click this link to get your coupon. Step 3, enjoy the safest and easiest installation ever. We're not saying, hey, we got the best things, we got this, we got that, we got the other, but we're saying we're the guide. If you do these 3 things, hey, click here, that's easy. Claim your free coupon or whatever. Get your easy installation. We're the guide who's been there before. And we want to position ourselves that way because in all reality, all of us are looking for a guide. We all want different things in life. Maybe you want to learn how to fly fish. Well, does it help you more for your buddy to come up and just brag about how good at fly fishing he is, and or is it better for someone to say, yeah, you know what, I know what it's like to want to learn how to fly fish, and I've actually helped a lot of other people. Here's the 3 things that you need to do, and I can actually help you do those things. There's a total difference in that. If you want to lose weight and you go to the gym, there could be some super ripped person that can just brag about how fit they are and about how cool they are. Or there could be someone who says, yeah, you know what, I know what it's like to want to lose weight. And I actually used to be in that same boat, but now I've actually learned the system of eating well and of working out to be in amazing shape. I've never felt better. I can help you do the same thing. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this. That's positioning yourself as the guide. And that's something in your social media posts that we have to do is not make it all about buy this, buy this, buy this, add. Instead, we want to talk about, enjoy living in a beautiful home. You deserve a beautiful fireplace. Imagine Christmas time with your family together around the fire. These are customer-centered messages. I know I'm going quick. Are there any questions with that about not being the hero and always playing the guide? Does that make sense? So next up is, this is from Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary, have you guys heard of Gary? So controversial figure. He's really smart when it comes to social media. If you don't like cursing, don't Google any of his stuff and don't read his books. But he's pretty intuitive, and he's got an amazing mantra when it comes to social media that he calls give, 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 ask. And it comes from a book of his called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And he gives this example when it comes to social media marketing and boxing. And he says that, if you're in a boxing match, you can't just throw haymaker after haymaker after haymaker, because they're going to see it coming a mile away, they're going to duck, and you're not going to connect. Well, what do you do in boxing? You jab, 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 and then you throw a right hook. And so social media is the same way, but the example he gives is, he says that you need to give, 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 and then ask. Not give, 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 take, give, 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 ask. So think about, what are the problems that your customer has? And maybe the first jab is, give value here. Here's a free video on the 4 design styles. They're going to help you make a better decision on your remodel. Here's a jab that is a free PDF download for how to measure your fireplace the right way. Here's another jab that might be 5 mistakes people make when buying a fireplace. Now I'm throwing a right hook where I'm going to ask, would you like to come in for a free appointment? If they say no, totally fine. But it's give, 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 ask. And if you audit most companies' social media presence, it's all about them. 25% off. Come and buy this. We have grills on sale for the next 3 weeks. Buy this weekend. That's haymaker, haymaker, haymaker. No one cares about it. There's no value that's given. It's all about them. It's not about the consumer. So the mantra with social media is give, 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 ask. The next thing in messaging comes from my friend Bradley Hartmann. I mentioned him once before. And Bradley is famous for saying, you are owed nothing, so deliver value first. Your business is not owed anything. My business is not. People don't have to buy from me. People don't have to listen to me. People don't have to hire me to come speak to them. No one has to buy our fireplace. They don't have to. It's totally, it's a blessing that happens. And since people are under no obligation to do business with us, we have to deliver value first. And that's something to think about, when we're making this, when we're giving this post, when we're gonna, film a video or talk about a promotion. What are we doing to give value to the customer? We really got to think about that. If it doesn't give value to them that's tangible that they can take home, we probably shouldn't use it, because it's just going to be white noise. It's not going to resonate with them. It might even turn them off from us. We got to give value first, and we've found a lot of success. I'll show you guys in a second in some video content where we just film simple videos of like, how do you heat your home with wood? I mentioned 5 mistakes people make when buying a fireplace. Buying a fireplace is hard. We talked about that earlier. And so we took just 5 mistakes. Mistake number 1, people don't know how to budget for it. So we wrote a paragraph on like, hey, here's how you budget. Here's what to think about for your different parameters. And we put real numbers in there, telling them, this is probably the range of products and this is what you should be thinking about. Mistake number 2 might be not having a professional come out to your house before the installation. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes that like you guys are all experts in, and man, put that on paper, put that in a video, and start posting about that and giving it away to people, because that's going to give value to them, where they're going to be connected to your brand since you're the one that's educating them. You're the one that becomes the trusted expert or the guide to help show them the way to get the life that they want. So you're owed nothing. So we want to deliver value first. The next thing too is that we really have to know our audience. So when it comes to social media, and this is where I find, I guess this is true for advertising in general, and I'm gonna pick on manufacturers in our industry here for just a second, but very often, I read all the industry magazines like Hearth and Home and Patio and Hearth Report, all those things, and so often I'm flipping through it, and there's consumer-facing ads that are in a magazine that goes to hearth dealers. So like you think about this, and like they're whoever the manufacturers, they're trying to market to you. They're trying to say, hey, buy our fireplaces, become a dealer, all these things. So they're showing ads that are meant to go to a consumer about 5 different decorative fronts, 8,000 BTUs an hour, remote control included. And again, as a dealer, you think about this and like, do we need another fireplace that's 30,000 BTUs an hour? Do we need another fireplace that has a remote control included? Do we need another fireplace that has 5 decorative fronts? Like, no, we have those things already. This is a consumer-facing ad where the manufacturer was lazy and they just said, oh, put it in Hearth & Home magazine, and they burn through, $5,000 or whatever it is, and it doesn't resonate with anyone because they don't know their audience. They're not thinking about who are the people that we're marketing to. So it's really important. Any time you're going to do a social media post, or advertising in general, think about who are the people we're advertising to. If we recently did something that was targeted specifically towards men. So that messaging is gonna be different than if I'm marketing towards women. It's gonna be different if I'm marketing towards young parents. We have to think about who our audience is, because if messaging that's meant for a 60-year-old woman is hitting me, it's probably not gonna resonate. We really got to be thinking about that. So when it comes to messaging, we got to make it about the consumer. Don't make it about us. Give, then ask. So don't just throw haymakers of, we got this special this weekend, we got this coupon, we got this, buy. No, give value. Here's a video on design that's going to help you a bunch. Here's a post about a great article on remodeling that might help you out a lot. As you do this, that's giving, you will start to build a relationship with the customer. So when you do make an ask, they may not purchase, and it's their right to not do that, but they're a heck of a lot more inclined to than if you just start throwing haymaker, and it totally turns off the customer. How's that sit? Make some sense? So what I want to jump into next is, what kinds of things do people want to see? And I would argue that there's really three kinds of things that people are looking to see on social media. So I'm assuming everybody, is there anyone here that doesn't have Facebook? Everyone's got Facebook? All right. Brady's a smart man. So no Facebook for him. Everybody else on Facebook. Now, when we go to Facebook, do we go to it to get coupons from local fireplace companies who want to sell us things? Why do we go to Facebook?
Entertain ourselves.
100%. Entertain ourselves, catch up with family, learn a tidbit about something. Frankly, a lot of the news, people get their news from Facebook, all this stuff. So when we think about what people want to see in general on social media, I think it's three things. I think that, number one is going to be information that helps them. If you're scrolling through Facebook and, if I'm in a remodel project or something, they're all these remodel people are marketing. But if I see something where it's 5 ways to save costs and have a better remodel, I'm oh, dang, okay, I better look at that. Information that's going to help you. The next thing is going to be inspiration for their day-to-day. We've all seen quotes and videos, and it's we want to be inspired. If you see a really great video of a monkey that's sleeping on a lion, it's oh, that's so inspiring, that's amazing, this love between these animals. These videos go viral and they get millions of hits. You see famous quotes that are getting passed around on Instagram and on Facebook. People want to be inspired. And then number three is, why do people go to social media? They want something that's going to make them laugh. They're doing all this to connect with other people. We can argue whether social media has been good or bad for connecting us with other people. But honestly, at the end of the day, the way that people are looking to do this is they want to see things that help them, information. It's going to help them survive and thrive. They're going to want to get inspiration for their day-to-day, and they're going to want to see something that makes them laugh. So these are just 3 Instagram posts that I had where this was a video that I put together giving information about what one of my upcoming talks was going to be. About hey, if you're a business owner that's caught in the whirlwind of the day-to-day, you feel like you're working so hard, your nose is against the grindstone, but you've never been able to break out of it. We got this course coming up that the goal of it is to help you learn to set goals and achieve them. The goal is to help you train your employees to where they can do your job better than you can. And goal number 3 is to be able to give you a good work-life balance. If those are 3 things that you want, then this is a good thing. So it's trying to give information that could help somebody. Inspiration for their day-to-day. This is a post that I did, coming up on a year ago, where this is a quote from a friend of mine. And this quote: in life, there are 2 kinds of pain, and you have to pick one to endure. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So take your pick. I'm inspired by that. I'm dang, okay. There are 2 kinds. I'm choosing the pain of discipline. But we want to be inspired. Something that's going to make them laugh. This is a video of me and my buddy Grant Falco, who wrote this presentation. Literally, so we were in Washington D.C. for HPBA in suits, talking to senators about NSPS, and we didn't have a car. And we literally found scooters that we could rent for you guys have Lime scooters here. You can rent them for $1, and we're literally going all over Washington, D.C. on the Capitol on these like ridiculous scooters, just like flying past little kids wearing like full suits. So there's a funny video about like two ridiculous grown men, riding scooters on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. But it was something that hopefully, made people laugh a little bit. A big thing when it comes to social media is making yourself worth getting to know. So you want to show people why it's worth knowing you. And again, this could be to inspire them, it could be to give them information, but your company has the ability to tell a story. And it can actually be a story that customers want to be a part of. So, it feels extremely narcissistic doing this, and so I hate like showcasing my own stuff, but like this is just, how I post. So like, there's an informational video that like hopefully is like real genuine and makes people think like, oh man, like that could help my business a lot. And yeah, maybe this is a good guy. This is a gigantic Montego fireplace that we put in, and like, I'm just being like ridiculous trying to model it. My modeling career didn't take off after that, but I was really trying to. Here's like Washington, D.C., like talking to senators and stuff, trying to inspire people and say like, hey, you can get involved in your industry. Like there's a big deal that's at play at the national level, and you can actually have a voice in it. A couple months ago, I was on the field at the Vikings and Bears game out in Minneapolis, and so you want to show people like, why are you worth getting to know? Are you relatable? Do people like you? Do they like your company? And I'm showing you this for me individually, but your company's no different. My buddy Grant's got an amazing follow if you guys are on Instagram, where his handle is Falco Barbecue. It's Falco BBQ, and it's like he just Instagrams about barbecue stuff and shows awesome meat and cooks good food, and you follow him and you're like, dude, I'm getting to know, like, this is a cool guy. I'm getting to know him. I'm learning tips. So your company is the same way, and that there's amazing things about your company that you can market to that people want to be a part of. But you gotta make yourself worth getting to know. If we're going to jump into specific tactics, that's all about messaging. Make yourself worth getting to know. Be the guide, not the hero. Give value first. Give before you ever ask. If we're going to get into specific tactics, I think this is the math formula with social media. I think it's consistency plus value over time equals results. And I don't think you can circumvent that. I really think it's consistency number one. Be methodical. It's going to take you a long time. There's going to be a lot of days where you're like, why am I doing this post? No one cares about it. Consistency will help you. Consistency with value over time is going to equal results. So here's some tactics, and this is a Gary Vaynerchuk quote that I love because it's so true. It's not the size of the platform. It's not about being all over every platform. It's what's right for your business based on who you're trying to reach. Yeah?
Okay, I'm going to be the smartest guy in the room because I'm going to answer stupid.
There you go.
I do not know. We've got a Facebook page for the business. We've got a website.
Yep.
But I don't know what the difference is in Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and whatever. Can you tell me what that stuff is?
Absolutely. Think about them like different TV channels. So think about Facebook as ABC and Instagram as CBS and Snapchat as, NBC, whatever it is. Think about it. They're all doing similar things, but they're different channels. And we'll get into this later. I would just say, start with Facebook. And you don't need to be on every one. Facebook is like the big. I think there's like 2 billion people on Facebook or something like that. I would start with that. Don't worry about anything else because the advertising can be so targeted. But what's good about you'll learn on Facebook, and over time, if you get good at it, it'll be a lot easier to adapt to other ones. But they're just different TV channels is all it is. And frankly, like you look at Snapchat, and Snapchat would be kind of like the Disney Channel, in that like it's targeted for a much younger demographic, where Facebook might be like ABC. It's everywhere. Everybody kind of watches it. That's the way that I think about it, like different TV channels. It's a really good question. Not stupid at all. Yeah. So,
like Snapchat is what it is. Same thing.
Yeah. Snapchat, you take a picture, your friends see it, and it disappears in 24 hours.
That's not something you want to mess with.
I start with Facebook. I would start with Facebook, and don't get overwhelmed. We know that. Another good one is if you are an expert on Facebook, Houzz is good because Houzz is a social media network that's exclusively for home improvement. But I like Facebook a lot because the marketing's so targeted. Honestly, probably I haven't caught anybody yet, but like during this presentation, there's probably some of you guys like on Facebook, like double tapping for likes and scrolling through it as I'm talking, right? Yeah, I see you over there.
What did you say about Houzz?
Oh, yeah, Houzz is it's a social media network specifically for home improvement projects.
And
Houzz. Now, the thing I'll tell you is that while Facebook's got like 2 billion people, Houzz has like way less because you got to be anyway. But it's a smaller pond, but higher impact because the people are there for a reason. But the point is, it's not about the size of the platform. If you go follow me on Instagram, I've only got like 450 followers, not that many, but it's been the right people that are folks who enjoy my content, who are manufacturers in the industry or distributors or sales folks who are the people that I want to talk to and engage with, and that's helped me tremendously. So do not feel bad that you don't have 30,000 followers or 20. I mean, honestly, just start with what you have and just slowly build it. Yeah.
You put any value in Twitter?
I don't. Someone probably could use it for value in the hearth industry. Gary Vee says that Twitter's kind of like the water cooler of the social media space. Like people go there to get the latest news and gossip and sports stuff. I haven't found the connection with fireplaces to that, where Facebook and Instagram and Houzz are so visual. So I don't use it, but you could experiment with it. This slide here, keep it simple. So start with Facebook. Get a Facebook presence. Everybody knows somebody who's good at Facebook. It doesn't mean you have to hire them, but get 30 minutes and buy someone a cup of coffee and just say, hey, I don't get this. Can you just show me how Facebook works? You can email me afterwards. I can try to give you my best explanation of it. But start with Facebook. Don't get overwhelmed. If you have a rock and roll Facebook presence, the other stuff doesn't matter as much right now. A lot of the other social platforms, while good, they skew younger in audience, where Facebook is for the last 3 or 4 years, the average age of the new Facebook user is honestly 50 to 70-year-old women. It's like the age is totally trending upward on Facebook, and that's where I would start. The big thing is to plan your budget. So, if you're going to do social media, I would advise starting out with a budget, and it doesn't have to be a ton, but I would imagine that if there's people in here doing radio and TV, man, I would encourage you to take, $7,000 out of your TV budget, which a lot of people have these $100,000, $200,000 TV budgets. To take $7,000 out is nothing. Take $7,000 and throw it at Facebook for a year. So you got whatever, $500 a month or $450 a month. So plan the budget, set it aside, and then schedule your posts. So if you're not going to be posting yourself, don't just leave your company's story to someone who doesn't know your company. Don't hire a social media expert to post for you that doesn't know your company. Now, they can do the posts for you, but you got to be in the meeting with them of hey, we're going to plan our 30 posts for the week in this 2-hour meeting. Let's knock that out right now. I'll give you the messaging, and then you can go run wild with it. Yeah.
I have a question. So Facebook has to be paid when it comes to from business? I thought it was
no. It doesn't have to. So all the social media platforms start out free. With Facebook does limit your reach to skew towards people who pay more. So we could run an ad without paying for it, and it might reach 200 people. Paying for it for $30 or $50, we could boost that to 1,500 people. So it used to be that Facebook would allow you. So Facebook used to have it to where once someone followed your page, you could market to them for free. You had access to everybody on your list. About 5 years ago, a little while ago, though, Facebook got greedy, and now you actually have to pay to reach the people on your own list. We can argue all day about whether it's right, wrong, stealing or not, but it is the way that it is. And even that being said, it's still some of the cheapest advertising out there. And frankly, if you think about it, people don't buy fireplaces very often. Every 20 years. So usually the people that follow you on Facebook are probably going to be past customers, probably not new customers thinking about working with you. So what we do is we will use Facebook for the reach to try and draw people into an email marketing sales funnel. And then once they've done business with us, we will try to get them to follow us on Facebook so that we can remarket to them for service calls and things like that. So just, a little aside there. So plan your budget, schedule your posts, and just execute consistently. Mark on your calendar, maybe it's, 4 hours once a month or 2 hours every other week, but consistency is the key. And what you can do is if you in a 2-hour meeting, you could literally schedule your posts for the next 30 days. So like clockwork, that it's going to post, I have this podcast that I have, and literally I do my podcasts in batches where I'll record 5 episodes at once, and then I'll set them to release over the next 5 weeks at 5 a.m. Eastern, every Tuesday. And so like Facebook and social media is the same way, that you can if you can block your time the right way, you'll have a lot of effectiveness in that consistency. I want to give you guys a resource here that's been very helpful for me, and it's a website called Canva. Have any of you guys heard of this? So yeah, game changer. So Canva is a free website where like they literally have templates for like every kind of social media post you can imagine. So it's CNVA. They have an iPhone app. If you go to canva.com, and what's amazing is literally like you could go to Canva, click on Facebook posts, and be given a template for like 500 different looks, where you can just click on one, trade out the text and the pictures for what you want, download it, post to Facebook. Like I think you can even post to Facebook directly from Canva now. Like it is so easy. So I'm a huge fan of this, and like frankly, like this screenshot that I took, this is literally me preparing the slides for this presentation in Canva. Like all the slides that you see in my whole thing today, like I made in Canva. I went in, they got 1 million templated slides, and I just said, oh, hey, these look like cool templates, and I just swapped the stuff out for my own content. So Canva is a great hack if you want to take the leap on really good looking social media posts. They do have a paid version. I don't use it. The free version is unbelievable, but that's a really, really good resource. Another one is going to be organic video content. So I feel so narcissistic with myself up on the screen. But organic video content is a big deal, and it's so cheap to do. Honestly, we've all got smartphones, and the video quality on them is unbelievable. I would highly encourage you to do our organic video content, and just think about problems customers have. These are an example of 3 videos. So like this one right here, the video is called Heating Your Home with Wood. And we had a new wood stove come out that I thought was really cool. And I should have videos 10 minutes, 12 minutes long of me just going through, hey, this is really neat. Here's how you load it up. Here's how the fire takes care of itself. And if you look at this, like to my knowledge, we have not put a penny towards this. And like 68,000 views. Like, but the title's not, we have a special this week, come in and buy it, 25% off, like heating your home with wood. Like we're giving. We're not taking, we're not demanding, we're not asking. We're just giving information away. So heating your home with wood's been a good one. This is one right here that is all about winning in the age of noise and confusion. That's going to be the next course that I'm doing today, is about how to focus. But again, it's an informational video that's going to say, hey, here's some basics on how to set goals. Here's some basics on how to hold your team accountable. We're in a posture of giving information to where someone would watch this and be like, man, I'm really glad that I saw that. This one right here, question of the day: are new gas fireplaces better than old? So we just do these little video series. I just sit on a stool and just talk about, hey, new gas fireplaces are awesome because old fireplaces had this standing pilot light, kind of like your furnace. And you heard me tell that story about the standing pilot light and what new ones can do. And people really like it. So we found a lot of success in organic video content. It takes some guts to put yourself in front of the camera. You always look stupid. You always hate the way that you sound. I played for years in a failing punk rock band up and down the West Coast, and so I'm not afraid of being an idiot on stage, which is what's helped me with this. But after you get over that little bit of stage fright, you're really going to engage customers, and they're going to be so connected with you. We had a lady come into our showroom about a year ago, and she walked in, and I said, hey, how are you doing today? And she goes, good, Tim, how are you? And I was like, am I in trouble? And she goes, no, but I've seen all your videos, and I want to buy a fireplace. And again, like the cost is so low. It doesn't have to be high production at all. You just start out with an iPhone. Keep it really easy and just make videos that if you were a customer, you'd want to see. Give information that's going to solve their problem. I keep going back to this. Every customer's got a problem. You have the solution. And if you can give information that will solve their problem, they will be so engaged with your brand. You will be like the doctor that's finally been able to give them medicine, and they will want to come back again and again and again. We've had a lot of success with this. We put together a free PDF. It's called 5 Mistakes People Make When Buying a Fireplace. It's really simple. If you're scrolling through Facebook, everybody clicks on like 6 celebrities who used to be hot that are now ugly. Like everybody clicks on that sort of stuff. So catchy titles like that are good, but we've had a lot of success with that. And it's a tool that at the end of it, it does make an ask. And it does say, hey, if you want to, get an estimate on your fireplace, give us a call right here. We'd love to come and help you. But that's after we've given them like a whole thing of here's the mistakes to avoid. And our hope is that even though it's a social media piece and a marketing piece, that like unashamedly, like, yeah, we are going to ask for some business at the end of it. Our hope is that someone would read this, and even if they chose not to work with us, they would be like, gosh dang it, I'm glad they sent that to me. I'm glad I saw this. This gave me some really helpful information. And that's how companies are going to connect with your brand to differentiate you from Mr. Big Box Store or from the big, spender on Google AdWords or anything like that. We're wrapping up, but I really want to talk about this, that what social media can do is you can draw customers into a sales funnel. And a sales funnel is something that is not talked about enough in our industry, but in every customer experience, there's a journey that begins with them first hearing about your brand. And then they go later down the funnel and maybe they come into your showroom. And then they go later down the funnel and maybe they get a written estimate. And then a layer down the funnel, you get to their house and then they finally buy. So we want to think about our businesses like a sales funnel. And social media is going to be getting people up at the top of the funnel, but there are actually systematic things you can do on repeat over and over to get people into that funnel. So you can have a great social media post that can be a value video. So maybe you have this amazing video about a mistake or whatever it is that helps people alleviate, making that mistake in the future, and people really like it. So maybe your call to action could be, hey, if you want the next video, enter your email address right here, and we'll send you another video on design styles that are going to rock your neighbor's world. So now that you've got their email address, you can get them into an email chain. So this takes work, and it's not easy, but you could hire a copywriter to write 10 emails that would be going out to this customer over a period of 6 weeks, nurturing them along, giving value, asking for an appointment. Give value, give a coupon and ask for, them to come into your showroom. So you got this email chain that moves them into a showroom invitation, and then finally a product coupon trying to move them in the funnel. So that's one of the amazing things with social media is that you can draw customers into a sales funnel, but you got to be intentional with it. I want to give you 2 resources as we wrap up here. This first one on the left is Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. Don't buy it if you don't like cursing. That's the precursor to it. But what's awesome with it is Gary wrote this about 5 years ago. It's still pretty relevant, but he actually goes through, at the time, all of the relevant social media platforms. He tells you what they are, what works, what doesn't, and he actually gives you pages and pages of effective posts versus not effective posts. It's really good. The concept of it, though, is that idea of give, ask. Give, ask. And he hits that so hard that you cannot ask, and make it all about you. Make it about them. Give value, and then ask for them to do business with you. The other one here is by my friend Bradley Hartmann, and this is a New York Times bestseller, and it's actually a pretty big, thick book. It'll probably cost you, I don't know what it'll cost you. It's not a cheap book. The Skeptical Lumberman was written by my friend Bradley Hartmann, and it's not on Amazon. You got to go to his website, which is behindyourbacksales.com. It's behindyourbacksales.com, and Bradley put together a book that he works with people in the lumber and building materials industry. So he literally works with skeptical lumbermen all over the country. And this book is for the skeptical lumberman who's going like this, I don't want to do social media. And it's saying, hey, here's where you start. If you've never heard of it before, here's why you do Facebook. Here's how you do Facebook. This is what it's good for. Here's LinkedIn. Here's Twitter, these things. If there's one book to buy, this is amazing. It's short. It's got a bunch of big pictures. It's really, really, really good. But those are going to be resources that will help you on the journey. And I don't have it all figured out. I'm still trying to figure out social media. But I'll tell you, for me, I started my Instagram account for Fireplaces 2.5 years ago. And I don't have that many followers. I got 450 roughly. But, literally, Brady is connected with me over Instagram. We were talking about that at lunch today. In the last year and a half, I've been flown literally all over North America, speaking to people, talking to folks, and it's not anything magic that I did that you couldn't do. It was just about knowing who are the people I want to connect with and can I try to post content that I really believe in my heart of hearts would be valuable for them. And it's the same with your customers, that there are people who want the value you provide, and social media can give you a way to do that. So with all that said, I'm appreciative that you guys are here, and I know that you can take control of your messaging. You can win the social media game. It's just going to take that investment. So if you have any questions, I'm all ears, but that's everything that I have. Yeah.
You mentioned that, okay, somebody starts to follow your page on Facebook, and but you said if you post something, the post, they may or may not see it, right?
Yep.
So if you've got 5,000 followers and you post a new deal, which Facebook wants you to, we get these notices.
Yeah.
You reached so many people this week, or you had so many likes this week,
Yep.
or whatever. And if you want to boost your whatever, so those that you already had that liked your page and are following, what happens to them? Do you never get back to them again?
You know, Facebook's got their own algorithms. So, but the big thing is that if you got 5,000 followers and you're posting, it will only be a fraction of your audience who sees it. I don't know which fraction, but that's where consistency is so important. You know, honestly, I would post to Facebook on like a daily basis. I think you could probably take 2 hours a month and plan, 25 posts, one for every workday, or 24 posts, however many it is. I would post every weekday, and I would schedule that out, because you don't know who it's going to hit in your list. But that's where I'd also have a budget. My personal take is, when it comes to a Facebook budget, I would not target people in your list. I would target outside people, because, at least for me, I would never follow I guess I'm a nerd and I do follow a bunch of fireplace companies on Facebook. But if I was a consumer, I have no interest right now to go and follow a random plumber in Portland, Oregon. But if I did business with them and they were funny or they're inspiring or something, I might follow them. Then they could market to me for future business. But that's just the way that I would do it.
And then when it says ask your friends to like this page or something like that, I forgot what that was. Anyway, I did the other day, and I had a whole bunch of people said they liked the page and whatever.
Yeah. Well, and so here's an idea that I think there's a ton of equity in, would be if you, every time you install a fireplace, tell your customers, if you snap a picture of this fireplace with your family in front of it, share it on Facebook with your friends, and send us a screenshot of it, we'll send you a $25 Amazon gift card. Because you think about, for my personal Facebook account, I don't know how many friends, a bunch of them. And if I'm organically posting that content, not the business, my reach as an individual is really far. My friends and neighbors are going to see it. That's another tactic that's really good too. Yeah.
Does your email follow-up use Constant Contact or MailChimp or something like that?
I use MailChimp. They're all great. I use MailChimp. I don't pay for it. I just use their free service, and I really like it. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope that at the end of the day, what you guys are encouraged to do is to get started on social media. You just get started with it. Just start attacking it consistently, day after day, and your company can win the game. So thank you.